and welcome back to episode 83 of Kings of Consoles. This is the podcast where we're trying to find the best game for each home video game console by means of giant tournaments. Today is our 83rd episode, our next to last episode of round 3, when the number 15 seed in our tournament, River City Ransom, will be taking on number 18, Super Mario Brothers 2. I'm Pat Dooley.
And I'm Ricky Giraldo.
And yeah, it has been 4 months. A lot has happened. A lot has changed. But what has not changed is our determination to find the best game for the Nintendo Entertainment System. It's taken us a while to get back in the studio. Life gets in the way. It happens. But we're here for you now, talking about some Nintendo classics, 2 of the top 20 games of all time, according to IGN, who made up our list. The winner of this is going on to the round of 16 to face off against The Legend of Zelda. So, we're down to just kind of the heavy hitters at this point. Only 18 games left, so 17 episodes left in this, our first season. So, what do we want to do? It's been so long. Do we want to recap what's already happened, or do we want to just dive right in?
I think we should just dive right in. It's been too long, and we're really sorry about that, everyone. But life did find a way. Found a way hard.
Life finds a way. Yeah. So for those of you who this is your first time listening, welcome. Better late than never. What we do is we took IGN's list of the 100 best games for the Nintendo Entertainment System, took the rankings, made them seeds in a tournament bracket, and each week on the show we compare 2 of them. We pick a winner, that one moves on, and eventually only one game will remain, the king of the console. Future seasons will do different consoles, but we started with the NES because it's a classic. But in each episode, we start by talking about the underdog based on the rankings, which this week is the number 18 seed Super Mario Brothers 2, a 1988 platformer developed and published by Nintendo, directed by Kensuke Tanabe, who's also credited as a designer, along with Yoichi Yamada and Hideki Kono. It was produced by Shigeru Miyamoto, programmed by Toshihiko Nakago, Yasunori Takatani, and Toshio Iwawaki, with art by Tadashi Sugiyama and Yoichi Kotabe, with music composed by the legendary Koji Kondo. Mario, Luigi, Toad, and Princess Toadstool, not yet Peach, go on a picnic. When they get there, they find a cave with a long staircase leading to a mysterious door. They all confess that they dreamt of this cave and this door last night, and that they were told that beyond the door is the world of Subcon, a dreamland under attack by a tyrannical frog named Wart. Nintendo of America decided that the Japanese version of Super Mario Bros. 2, released in the States as Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, was too difficult and too similar to the original Super Mario Bros., so they took an existing Famicom game called Yume Kojo Doki Doki Panic, which was a tie-in game to Fuji Television Media Technologies' Dream Factory Expo, and modified the game with Mario characters for international release. With 7.46 million copies sold, it is the 5th highest grossing game for the NES, 4th among those in the tournament, and 3rd of those that remain, behind only the other 2 Mario games, which actually I guess I need to amend that, because in our last episode 4 months ago, the original Super Mario Brothers got knocked out by Star Tropics. So it's the 2nd highest grossing game of those remaining. Right. And it is one of 5 Nintendo games remaining, along with Mario 3, Zelda, Kirby, and Star Tropics. So what we've been asking, because we're in round 3, which means that we have spent 3 hours with each of these games. Does the number 18 seed Super Mario Brothers 2 still hold up after 3 hours of play and 4 months of thinking about when we played it back then? And I think, yeah, it's really good. We'll get into which one we preferred in a bit, but there's a reason it's a classic. It doesn't quite fit the Mario mold that we're all used to, especially of the era. But it's a fun little game.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, it just doesn't feel like a Mario game. it's kind of like a Metrovania Mario game, kind of
Almost,
a little
yeah.
bit.
Almost.
Like maybe we should call Metrovania's Super Mario 2 Anias. I don't
Doki
know.
Doki Vanias.
Doki Doki Mania, but it's okay. I don't know. I didn't really like this one as much. It's cool that we could play Luigi.
Yep.
I think it's the first time, right? Like
other than being player 2 in
right.
But it's the first time that he's had like a distinct, he's not just like a color palette swapped Mario like he had been in the arcade Mario Brothers and Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
It's the first time he really had his own personality. And it's definitely the first time you could play as the princess or Toad.
Yep. So that's all. That I just don't feel like it's a Super Mario game. I think it's something completely new and something they're like, we got to put Mario did so well. We got to put them on. We got to make another game.
Yep. Yeah. And they did, and they're like, "Ooh, this is too hard. Let's just take that game and throw Mario on it." But it did, it introduced a couple of things that have stuck around. Not a lot of Mario 2. I mean, there's no Mario canon. Like, let's be honest, there's no like the same Mario that, what happened in Mario 3 doesn't affect what happened in Odyssey. They're sort of
it's true,
thematically linked and character linked, sort of like Final Fantasy games are. But Mario 2 did introduce us to a couple of characters that stuck around. Birdo and the Shy Guys are characters who have remained part of the Mario lore, but there's also a bunch that didn't. Like Wart, this is really his only appearance other than I think he's what are they called, spirit assists in Smash Brothers. I think Mouser's the same. There's a couple of random villains from this that are in that, but pretty much the only ones that have made like the full-on transition into Mario, they're playable in Mario Party and Mario Kart are Birdo and the Shy Guys.
That's true.
So
this is where they first appeared, right?
Yep.
Shy Guys?
Yep, yeah. Absolutely. So not a super consequential game to the Mario lore, but it did introduce some stuff.
I'm just mad we never got the rat that throws a tomato or a bomb. No,
yeah, Mouser. Like,
where's he at?
I don't know. Throwing the bombs that say bomb when they explode. They don't say boom, they say bomb. Yeah, just kind of. I mean, I guess it was all a dream. Ooh. Which, spoiler alert for the end of Mario 2, the game ends with Mario waking up. So we don't know whether any of the stuff that happens in Mario 2 actually happened to the characters or if it was a dream within a dream, like Inception style.
It's true. I feel like all the Mario games are dreams. It's like, oh, I'm gonna go clean up an island. Oh, I'm in outer space. Oh,
true.
I have a magical hat.
Well, Mario 3 is a stage play.
Yeah,
because the whole, the game opens with the curtain opening and like all of the stuff you can jump on is like bolted to the backdrop, and it's all.
Here we go, guys. This is the true story canon of Mario. It's just the plumber who got high on shrooms, and this is what he's living. That's all it is. And
had a bad experience with some turtles, and it just went from there. He's 3.5 decades deep in a deep delusion about.
Princess Peach is the person that he was, helping out.
She was the customer
she was the customer.
Yeah.
There you go. This could be it. Do it, Hollywood.
Luigi's just his reflection that he saw in a puddle of water that was that's why all he was a color swap in the original games. But as his delusion took further hold, he started to develop his own personality.
Yeah, Yoshi's just like a rat he saw down there or something.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's just a lizard, like a chameleon or something. And the whatever the rabbit things from Odyssey, he just I don't know, the lady that he was helping had rabbits. I don't know. You can make it work.
Yep.
Give it to Christopher Nolan. Give it to don't give it to Shyamalan. Give it to Charlie Kaufman. Let him write that. And
I think it's starring John Leguizamo again.
Yes, that's right. That's right. John Leguizamo playing both roles, Mario and Luigi.
Oh man. Anyway,
Okay.
Mario 2. It's okay.
That's fine.
It's fine. It is it's a classic, but I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Not the
Well,
same.
and one thing
But then-
that we had been doing on the show that I forgot to do this week, in the second round, because it got a first round bye because it was so highly ranked, it beat Vice Project Doom to get to this spot. And Vice was it's pretty good game, but Mario 2 hasn't really faced super stiff competition until now, where it takes on the number 15 seed River City Ransom, which is a 1990 action role-playing beat-em-up developed and published by Technos. It was directed by Mitsuru Yoshida and Hiroyuki Sakamoto, and its score was composed by Kazuo Sawa. Ryan's girlfriend Cindy has been abducted by a gangster named Slick. Ryan and his friend Alex must cross gang-infested River City to rescue her, learning fighting techniques from books, eating waffles and sushi in the same meal to replenish health, and showing off their naked butts in saunas. Alex is modeled on an existing Technos character called Kunio, who had previously appeared in Renegade and Super Dodgeball. Ryan, named Ricky in Japan, was previously the villain in Kunio's previous games. The game was very successful in Japan, spawning several spin-offs, but was not successful elsewhere, slowly gaining cult status over the years, eventually spawning a Steam sequel called River City Ransom Underground in 2017, a 3DS game in 2016 called River City Tokyo Rumble, and 2019's River City Girls, available on PS4, Switch, Xbox One, and PC. A Japanese-only prequel was released for Super Nintendo in 1994 called Shin Neketsu Koha Kunio Tachi no Banka, which was ported to the Switch in 2021 as River City Girls Zero. And then last year, it was officially announced that there is a River City Girls 2 coming for the new generation of consoles, or at least for PS5. I don't know if it's been announced for Xbox Series yet.
I don't know Xbox, but I know Switch for sure.
Yeah. And it is the only Technos game remaining in the tournament. And after its first round bye, it beat Shadowgate to get into the round of 32.
Oh, Shadowgate.
Oh, Shadowgate.
You deserve to lose.
Open Skull.
I know you liked it. But
I did. But it was no River City Ransom. In all honesty, looking at the bracket, there are not many games that are on River City Ransom's level. It is this is for sure like a Final Four contender. Zelda better watch out, because
for sure.
Alex and Ryan are coming for you, Link.
Guys, this game is awesome, man. Like, I'm really sad I didn't play this when I was a kid. I think I would have loved it.
Yeah. I did. This was one of my sister and I's favorite games when we were kids. It was one of the few games where you could like play together co-op. This and Ninja Turtles 2 and a couple other games we just really loved playing, because we would just run around and beat up gang members in River City, hit them with baseball bats or throw tires at them, or we would I think I mentioned on the previous episode that we would play baseball in that one park where you beat Bonnie and Ronnie and Clyde or whatever their names are, where you beat them and one of them has brass knuckles and the other one has a stick. We would then, after we had beat them, one of us would grab the brass knuckles and the other would grab the stick, and the person with the brass knuckles would throw the brass knuckles and the person with the stick would try to hit it like a baseball.
That's great.
We just make up our own games within the game. And then, it's then we run to the next mall to read about Hands of Stone or Dragon Feet or Acro Circus or whatever Dragon Feet, Stone Hands, and Aqua Circus, and so we could just kind of just beat the crap out of more of the generic dudes and the mob and whatever other gangs or color-coded gangs were floating around in River City.
Yeah, the game is just. I mean, I'm trying to figure out like why is it so fun? I mean, it's a fun game. It looks good for the time, for sure. And the story is really cool.
Yeah.
There's a natural story. And you just, I mean, it feels, honestly, I think we talked about it before, but it feels like an early Yakuza.
Yes. Yeah, it's very much
Like
so. Where there's like side stuff you can do, but there's just a solid, story of revenge with these two dudes, looking to take down Slick.
Yeah, but it's cool when you go in the store and then there's like a little window and it's like you can see him go and talk to the register. And it's just really well done. Really well done.
Yeah. Yeah. It tries a bunch of things that like, it's got RPG elements, it's got side-scrolling beat 'em up elements, but it just kind of meshes them all together really well in ways that games just really weren't in 1990. Yakuza is a great example of that kind of game now. I mean, I feel like in Super Nintendo you started to see stuff like Final Fight and Fatal Fury and that kind of side-scrolling beat 'em up, but even those didn't really have like the RPG elements that River City Ransom has, in terms of the like being able to improve your stats by reading or by eating certain foods. Is really, really, really good stuff. This was one of my favorites when I was 8, and it's still one of my favorites, at 39. It's just a really, really excellent game.
It's a good time, and also the new sequels is also really good. So River City Girls, it's a little bit more beat 'em up, a little bit different. Like this one's a beat 'em up, but it's just a different take of it, but it's a lot of fun. The music's great.
Yeah, I for sure want to check it out. I just never got around to it. But I am starting to play a lot more PC games, so maybe I should check out River City Underground. Now that like I'm actually putting stuff in my Steam library. And of course got the Switch, so I can play River City Girls 0. And the River City Girls, the one from 2019, I can play on my PS4 or my Switch. I have every platform it's available on except Xbox One. So there's nothing stopping me. I just haven't. Because there's too many games, Ricky.
There's a lot of games.
Too many games out there, and I just keep getting more. Because I keep being like, oh, I wanted to try that. And then, PlayStation gives me 3 new free ones every month. And
and also, like I know a lot of people are in the Elden Ring. I need you guys to get out of that world for a little bit and try these old games. It only takes it's only taking us for some of these games only an hour. So
and
this is one of them.
I
have finished this run, and I believe the first run I finished the game. So
that sounds like a pretty perfect segue into Who Made It Farther.
Who made it farther? Who made it farther?
All right. Thank you, Ryan O, once again for the Who Made It Farther theme. So I had to go digging to find my notes from when we played these games back in November to remember where I was in both of these. Super Mario Brothers 2. One, I did make a note. How many other games start with the protagonist plummeting from the sky? Other than like Fortnite, I can't really think of many others where it begins with you falling.
Basically, every battle royale.
Yeah, because that's true. Yeah, PUBG, and they're all like that. But
isn't there a movie that starts from someone? Predators.
Oh, Predators too.
Predators. Yeah, remember they wake up and they're parachuting down.
Yeah, that's right. I think isn't that also how Crank starts? Where
I
he's
think
like
so too.
jumping out of a plane without a parachute
Yeah.
because
He's like,
he has
oh,
to keep his adrenaline up or else he'll die. Those movies are insane. I love them, but they're
Yo,
insane.
Crank one was something else.
Yes.
But I don't remember Crank 2, but
Crank 2 had Bai-Ling speaking English, but her accent was so heavy that they subtitled her anyway. Throughout the entire movie.
No.
It was bonkers. But yeah, Mario 2, I made it to, with 30 seconds to spare in the hour, made it to level 6-1 out of what I think is 8. I think 8-3 is the last, the final showdown with Wart. So I got through about 3/4 of the game in an hour.
I got to where we were fighting that rat.
Okay, not the first time, but
Not the first time. No,
Yeah.
it was like the second time.
Let me see.
It was, and right after it, you're kind of like in a water level ish.
Yeah. So yeah, he shows up first in like
It was like
1-3. So that's how I know that it wasn't the first one. Where else does he
let
show
me see.
up?
4-1. 4-1. I made it to 4-1.
4-1. All right, cool. That's a big win for me. So River City Ransom, you beat it.
I beat it again.
I made it to the high school gates with a lot of time left over, but they wouldn't open. And I couldn't figure out why. And I couldn't figure out why. And I couldn't figure out why. So I eventually paused it, stopped my timer, went online, and found out that the gates only open after you've beaten every boss. You don't have to just get to them. And I had apparently skipped the fight with Blade on this playthrough. So I then had to backtrack all the way back to Sherman Park to fight Blade.
How'd you miss that?
I just kept going forward. Because Blade was one of the ones that you fight in the park, and it was just like one of those like off to this. It was one of those where like you can only fight Blade after you beat Moose, I think.
Yeah.
You have to beat Moose to unlock the Blade fight.
Right.
But you can keep if you. So like I made it to the park before I beat Moose, and so he wasn't there. So I just never went back to the park, even after I beat Moose. I was like, well, I'm already past the park. I don't need to go back. And so I beat every other boss in the game. I just skipped that one fight like a third of the way in. So I had to backtrack all the way back through the entire city to do that fight. And I wound up running out of time before I could get back to the school. But like I was there, I was at the gates trying to figure out how to get inside. And
that's crazy.
And time ran out. So I didn't beat it.
You were so close.
I'm a little salty about it. But I'll get it next time.
So close.
I'll get it next time because I mean, we might as well just come out with it. We pick a winner. One of these games is going on to face Legend of Zelda, and I mean, it's clearly River City Ransom, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
River City Ransom, definitely.
Yeah, it's definitely going into the round of 16 with the 15 seed. So, not an upset. Some people might think it is since it's the lesser known game between the two. But anybody who's played it is like, yeah, this is one of the best games ever made.
But I honestly think a lot of people haven't played number 2. Clearly you did back in the day, but it's not one you'd hear about a lot.
No, it's true.
Even I was like, wait, Super Mario 2? I don't think I've ever played it. Because, you just go straight to 3 and then World. So,
unless you're, one of us old timers that, was playing NES in 1988 before there was a Mario 3. It's like, oh, hey, there's a new Mario game. And then playing is like, oh, this doesn't feel like a Mario game.
What is this?
I'm going to go back and play some more Bionic Commando or whatever else I was playing in 1988.
Bionic Commando. But yeah, River City Ransom, no question.
Yeah.
Great game, still a great game. I believe if you have a Nintendo Switch, you can play it on there. I think it's in the Nintendo Online.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I can probably confirm that pretty quickly.
And get the sequels. River City Ransom, River City Girls.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's a sequel. It is a sequel, but
it's technically a prequel.
it's like this, it's like the same world, but
yeah, it was a Super Nintendo game originally from 1994, but then it got remade and remastered. Or sorry, that's the River City Girls Zero. Is the prequel. River City Girls is just a straight up sequel, I think. But I think you're right that it's like a adjacent to the main story. It's not like a straight up sequel.
Right.
And then there's that Steam game that I haven't played, but I want to. River City Ransom Underground. So
that's pretty cool. Yep.
Sorry, it's taken us a while to get to your question, Ryan O. But his question of the week, from when we initially asked for it,
man,
in a video game, would you rather fight zombies, werewolves, or vampires? I like that he prefaced by in a video game.
Real life, that all sucks. Definitely
all
not a werewolf.
Probably zombies because they're dumb and you can outsmart them and get away. But then,
like, what if they're like the running zombies and those are just annoying?
The 28 days later zombies. No, none of that. So because it's hard, because like part of me is like, well, basically my favorite horror franchise is Resident Evil, so like that part of me wants to be like, oh yeah, zombies, but then also there's Resident Evil 8 and there's Lady Dimitrescu, and it's like, oh, you can fight more vampires, more giant vampire ladies, and their horrible harpy daughters that can't get cold.
So weird.
Yeah, it's a weird game. Fun, but weird.
Very weird.
Yeah, 7 and 8 were both very weird games, but it's kind of a nice return to form after the kind of action games that 4, 5, and 6 were.
I just want Raccoon City again, man.
Yeah.
I don't like all like where it went. I miss the T-Virus. I miss. You know what I want, man? And I know we're going on a little tangent like we always do.
We always do.
Righto. But we choose zombies for sure.
Yeah.
But I want a Resident Evil Outbreak again. I want that. I don't know if you ever played Outbreak.
No.
But it was like a first console online game where you team up with other people and you're playing it like old school Resident Evil style. It was just so cool. It was like a side stories from the city, like what other people are doing in the city. It was just great. It was really good, and no one played it because our online was pretty poopy at the time.
Yeah,
we weren't as stable as Japan.
That's also kind of what killed the Dreamcast at the time. Was like, it's the first online console, but everybody's on dial-up, so like nobody could play all of these online games. Like I'm finally PlayStation has a big sale on the Shenmue games were super cheap. So I just grabbed the first 2 for like $6 a couple days ago. Because I was like, I almost wanted a Dreamcast at that point in time just for Shenmue, because it just seemed like such a cool game. And then Shenmue 3 was the free game on Epic Games at some point last year. So it's like, I now have 3 of those to play through, plus, my entire backlog of other games that I finally started playing Super Meat Boy recently, which I know I'm like a decade behind on that game. And it's great, but it's so hard. And I know that's not like news, but I was not prepared for how hard that game is.
Yeah, the game is rough. Super hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, zombies it is.
Zombies, for sure. Although, something to be said for vampires, because that gets us into Castlevania. And But
werewolves suck, man. They're just hard. When you fight werewolves, you're just fast and annoying. And
yeah, I honestly I can't really think of a video game werewolf that I'm like excited to fight. There was like the most annoying non-flying enemies in the Castlevania games.
Yeah, for even in Resident Evil 8, those werewolves were annoying.
Yeah, the lichens. Yeah, that was a whole thing that I didn't need. But all that being said, Resident Evil games are great, and I would rather fight. But most of the Resident Evil games are great. 1, 2, 4, 7, and 8 are great. 5's pretty good.
And I enjoyed some things of 6. I know 6 gets a lot of hate. Even I just hated on it, but it had cool gunplay.
Yeah, that's true.
And Leon's story wasn't bad. It's just Chris and the other guy was
Yeah. It's also hard when it's, part of a franchise that has so many legit great games. Like if it was just a standalone thing, we'd probably like it a lot more. It's unfortunately a Resident Evil game. And
it feels rushed too.
Yeah.
6 was definitely like, oh, we gotta make a game. It's kind of like Sony. We gotta make a Spider-Man game or Spider-Man movie, or else we're gonna lose the rights.
That's right. Yeah. But then eventually you make No Way Home, and all is right with the Spider-Man world. So next week, round 3 concludes. It'll be our final episode of the 3rd round. We will find the 16th of our Sweet 16 games when, not surprisingly, Super Mario Brothers 3, the number 1 overall seed in our tournament, takes on number 33, Batman, the video game. Seems appropriate to be finishing Mario Brothers at the end of Super Mario and to be playing Batman while the Batman is destroying it at the box office. It's almost like we planned this, but we definitely did not.
Definitely did it. So
let's see how rusty I am with the plugs here, but challenge.com/Kings of Consoles, that's CHALLONGE, where you can see the entire bracket. ko-fi.com/Kings of Consoles if you want to contribute to the show financially. Shoot us an email, kingsofconsolespod@gmail.com. We're also on social media, facebook.com/Kings of Consoles, @Kings of Consoles on Twitter. I'm at Loopy Date.
And I'm at Ricky GN7.
And you can also catch me every Sunday morning over at twitch.tv/Pro Wrestling Simulated, where Mike Sangregorio and I are doing a very similar thing to what Ricky and I are doing here, but we are going through Pro Wrestling Illustrated's PWI 500 list and simulating a wrestling tournament in Fire Pro Wrestling World, where we are trying to find the best wrestler in the virtual simulated wrestling world. So check that out every Sunday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time. Also, of course, rate, review, subscribe, and all the various podcast platforms where you can find us pretty much everywhere. Obviously, you're listening now, so you found us somewhere. So you can keep listening here and Podbean and iTunes, and I think we're on iHeartRadio, not on Spotify for reasons. But other than that, check us out, rate, review, subscribe, and we'll see you next week with Super Mario Brothers 3 and Batman the video game. And man, it's been a long time since I've said this, but I have missed it. Play old games.
Play old games. We will be back next week.
Next week.
Kings of Consoles is recorded in Nashville and Orlando and is produced and edited by me, Pat Dooley. Thanks to Captain Portal for our theme song, intro for a non-existent video game, which can be found at freemusicarchive.org. And the music and sound effects from this week's games can be found with a quick Google search. The opinions expressed in this and every episode are our own, and we are in no way sponsored by or affiliated with Nintendo. We're just